Give me a minute and I will tell you what's wrong. So, this is a TV show called Waco, and it's basically a mini-series recounting the real-life events of the Waco siege. What was the Waco siege, you ask me? Well, we have to go back to 1993. This happened in the United States, in Texas, near the city of Waco, of course. It involved the so-called Branch Davidians, which were a religious cult led by a man named David Koresh. And this guy is very important for this story. Koresh was not very different from other American cult leaders. He wanted obedience from his community. He presented himself as a messianic figure, and he was especially interested in polygamy. Now this is also very important. Koresh convinced his followers that sexual activity was sinful, that it was only for the purpose of reproduction, and only one man in his community could practice it. Yes, only one man was allowed to sleep with the Branch Davidian women. And who was this lucky special man? Well, it's easy to guess. It was leader David Koresh, of course. Unfortunately for David Koresh, though, the Branch Davidians faced an enemy far bigger than temptation, perhaps far bigger than Satan himself, the US government.
Please stop! There are women and children in here!
You see, the Branch Davidians, they weren't just providing their leader 14-year-old girls to marry. They were also collecting guns. A lot of guns. And the federal government of the United States, well, they didn't really like that. So, here we have the FBI and the Department of Justice knocking on the Branch Davidians' door. Hey David, you gotta give us your firearms. No. This is the FBI, you have to surrender now. You can't lock your entire community in your secluded ranch surrounded by guns and bombs. You just can't do that. David, what are you doing? I said you can't do that. So here we have it, the famous Waco siege. It lasted 51 days, one of the longest in the history of the United States. It didn't end well for the Branch Davidians. On the 51st day, the FBI attacked the ranch. There was fire, bullets, total chaos. The result was 86 casualties. Among those, 82 were Branch Davidians. And among those 82, 28 were children. The story is very complicated, but in order to keep this video short, the US law enforcement is often criticized for how they handled this crisis. It's a hot topic for many Americans, and it's a hot topic especially for those who see autonomy from the government as a core value in their politics. I share this sentiment, even though I am not an American and I am also not a part of this second group. So now that we have the story straight, we can come back to the TV show. Okay, so we have a scene where David Koresh, played by actor Taylor Kitsch, explains his philosophy to a young man he's trying to indoctrinate.
We're all slaves to our own sexual desires, but our sexuality keeps us bound to the lower parts of our beings. I've assumed the burden of sex for us all, but not for my own kicks.
And here I am, as an audience member, as a TV show watcher, reacting very strongly to this scene. I have a hard time thinking David Koresh actually believed that sex was immoral. But, you know what? For the sake of argument, let's give him the benefit of the doubt over that. Let's pretend, for the sake of argument, that David Koresh actually believed his own preachings over sex. Alright. Well, even if we are arguing that logic, there's still no way he wasn't enjoying that kind of power, right?
What's wrong?
I started to enjoy myself.
You can enjoy yourself a little bit, David. I am your wife.
I know. But we can't succumb to the pleasures of the flesh. We have to rise above that. As hard as it can be sometimes.
This is the part of the show that baffled me. Do the writers really think this was the real David Koresh? So he wasn't taking pleasure in this power dynamic. He didn't enjoy being in charge, manipulating women, claiming every little girl for himself. In his own private moments with his favorite wife, he really was thinking, "Oh no, I must not give in to sexual desires." Now, I am not usually in the business of speculation, but I am a little bit in the business of writing. So I ask myself, what were these writers thinking? Why so much sympathy towards David Koresh? I think there are two possible explanations here. One, the writers were manipulated by a long-dead cult leader, a man so charismatic that he is able to lead his influence 20 years into the future towards very well-educated men. Or two, the writers, in their rightful anger towards the US government for their involvement in the Waco siege, were desperate to portray the other side as a noble victim, even if that other side was a child rapist, like David Koresh. And that's the reason I was baffled by a scene in a TV show. Thanks for watching. This was my first video in English, and thanks for watching.